Hello, and welcome back to the podcast that must not be named. I am Luke. I'm joined here with Melissa, and we are going to kick off this Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire 5-chap recap, covering chapters 6 through 10, with a recap from Bailey of Hogwarts Radio. Bailey, take it away.
Harry, Hermione, and the Weasleys wake up bright and early to travel to the Quidditch World Cup. Harry learns that in order to apparate, you have to pass a test, and hears some harrowing details about splinching. George gets busted trying to sneak some Tongue toffees to the cup. Mr. Weasley tells Harry about the logistical nightmare the World Cup has been, and we learn about portkeys, ordinary objects that have been enchanted to transport people from one location to another. Harry meets Amos Diggory, father to Harry's Quidditch rival, Cedric, who can't stop boasting about Cedric's defeat over Harry in Quidditch the prior year. The gang arrive at their campsite, where a muggle checks them in, and Harry helps Mr. Weasley with his muggle currency. Walking to their campsite, Harry sees many tents that are trying to blend in for the muggles, but some tents have 3 stories or built-in front gardens. The Weasleys leave Harry and Hermione to erect the tents, as they are more familiar with the muggle contraptions, even though they have no experience. Harry, Ron, and Hermione are sent to get water and see wizards from across the world on their journey. Most of the wizards seem to have trouble blending in with muggle culture. Harry learns about various jobs in the wizarding world. Percy, Bill, and Charlie arrive, and we meet the head of magical games and sports, Ludo Bagman. Fred and George bet Bagman that Ireland will win, but Krum will catch the snitch. Bagman tells Mr. Weasley there's been no news of Bertha Jorkins, and Barty Crouch calls Percy Weatherby, which Fred and George find to be hilarious. Bagman lets it slip that something is going to be happening at Hogwarts soon, and excitement builds as the Quidditch match draws near. A gong sounds, and the group makes their way to the stadium, where they find their seats in the best box in the entire stadium, all the way at the top. Harry meets Winky, a house elf, and Winky tells Harry that Dobby has been requesting pay for his work since being freed, which Winky finds ridiculous. In addition to Winky, we discover that Cornelius Fudge, the minister, and the Malfoys are also seated in the box. The Vila and Leprechauns make a show, and the match gets underway. Harry is amazed at the skill the two teams show. Like a good hockey game, things get a little wild, and some rough play ensues. True to the twins' prediction, Ireland wins, but Krum gets the snitch. As the Irish do a victory lap, Fred and George go to Bagman to collect their winnings. Harry falls asleep to dreams of Quidditch notoriety, and then is rudely awakened by chaos happening outside of the tent. Arthur, Bill, Charlie, and Percy run off to assist the Ministry, leaving the kids to flee into the woods by themselves. The trio runs into Draco while fleeing, who suggests Hermione may be in danger with whatever is going on. Harry loses his wand in the woods, and the group stumbles upon Winky, who's going on and on about bad wizards. Someone nearby casts a spell, Mors Mordra, which causes a green skull with a snake coming out of its mouth to appear in the sky, which Hermione points out is the Dark Mark, Voldemort's symbol. Seconds later, Ministry wizards catch the trio in the woods and accuse them of conjuring the mark. Winky is found in the woods, holding Harry's missing wand, which just so happens to be the wand that conjured the mark. Furious for disobeying orders to stay in the tent, Crouch says he'll be giving Winky clothes and freeing her from his service. We discover that Voldemort's supporters, the Death Eaters, are the ones who caused the disturbance, toying with muggles just for fun. Harry wonders if his scar hurting a few days prior might be related to the attack. Harry and the Weasleys return home as quickly as possible after the events of the World Cup. Mrs. Weasley expresses her concern for them upon their return, and Arthur and Percy head to the Ministry to help with the scandal. Harry tells Ron and Hermione about his scar and his dream. Mrs. Weasley gives Ron some used dress robes for the upcoming school year, which he says he will never wear.
As always, for our 5-chap recap episodes, we have the lovely, the beautiful, the intelligently exciting Lorelei, our first time, our target audience perspective. What's up? Welcome back.
Hi.
Hello. So, what do you think of these chapters here? We've got, basically all Quidditch World Cup stuff, right?
They were very informational. I think.
How so? What do you mean by informational? Just
They give us a lot of information about, like, the wizarding world.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
So,
Like what?
A lot of international wizard type stuff.
Yeah, like that.
What really stood out to you when we were meeting some of the international wizard community?
There was a lot of people that had very important jobs.
Yeah. Like who?
A lot of people. That's who.
Yeah, okay.
The important ones. Not like Weatherby.
No.
So how do you think Percy was doing in his interactions with his boss?
I think he was trying to make a good impression, and I think he thinks he was doing well, but I think everyone else did not.
What do you
Including
think?
his boss?
Like, if you were to get a job, would you go down the Percy Weasley path?
No.
Why not?
Because that's like, I don't know, it's like stuck up to your boss type thing, which is super annoying.
And not really truthful to who you are.
No.
Okay.
So what else about the campsite stood out to you? Maybe the tents or the Irish part of the campsite or the Bulgarian side of the campsite? What else stood out to you here in the camps?
I thought it was really dumb that the wizards that know that they're not supposed to get caught by muggles are just going, like, just throwing a party and stuff in front of, like, muggles.
Kind of flaunting it.
Yeah, I thought that was really dumb.
What would you do differently?
I would watch the game and be like, hoorah, or, like, whoever I was rooting for. And then I'd probably just go back home.
So just show up for the game and then head off. You wouldn't come and camp the week before or anything?
No, because then I'd just go home and I'd be like, I wasn't in that. I left right before that started. So
Avoiding all the drama.
don't blame me for anything.
Mm-hmm. What did you think of... go ahead, Melissa.
I was going to say, do you have any thoughts about the game itself?
That's where I was going.
Yeah, see?
I thought it was really cool how we got Harry's perspective of, like, him, like, slowing down everything.
Using the
then, like,
omnioculars.
Yeah, I wish we had those.
Those seem pretty cool, don't they?
Then, like, coaches could, like, know what's really going on.
Oh, because they could slow down play enough to see
Yeah, they'd be like, yeah, you messed up here. And be like, I have proof.
video playback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and something to kind of point to, like, okay, well, you can do this better. Like, you did this, maybe do this.
Yeah.
So, Victor Crumb ends up catching the snitch, knowing that they were going to lose. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think he was just doing it for the team, even though he knew he was going to lose. I think he was just, like, still trying to be good sportsmanship and being like, I know you're going to win. Good job for you. But I'm still going to play like we're, like, tied or something.
Okay, so just because... Yeah, I mean, basically, you look at the score at the end of the day, it looks like it was a closer match, right? And maybe he's thinking, just because you guys are winning doesn't mean I'm going to change the way I'm playing. If I see the snitch, I catch the snitch.
Yeah. Or maybe he, like, had no idea what the score was, and he was like, oh my gosh, the snitch, and got it.
Right.
Like, yes! And then, like, all of the other team was cheering, and he's like, oh, great.
Oh, no.
I mean, yay for you guys.
I meant to do that. Dang it.
Totally. I was just tricking you guys.
After the match, we go back to the tents, right? And we kind of start getting some crazy happenings out in the campsites with a family, the Roberts being held up in the air. Do you have any thoughts on that whole kind of riot issue?
I thought that was really dumb.
On whose part?
On the bad guys' part.
Because?
Like, I know they're, like, stupid. Not really stupid, but, like, they just want to, like, get in trouble and stuff and then get away with it. But, like, it was right after the Quidditch World Cup where millions and millions of wizards were there. And a whole bunch of important people were there, too. So, like, I would do that not right after. I do it, like, the next day.
With security is a little bit more lax, maybe?
Yeah.
Like, oh, let's go do this crime. Where should we do it? I don't know. At police headquarters? Like, no.
Yeah. I mean, I know they
Anywhere
just
else.
want to be like, haha, like, we did this and we didn't get caught, haha. But, like, should have thought of that just a little bit better. I mean, you still could have done it, but do it more smartly. So that was just dumb.
All right.
So they run into the kids and everything run into the woods, and we see Winky there, and there's the whole Dark Mark incident, kind of all of that where they think Harry and Hermione and Ron put the Dark Mark into the air, and then Winky gets accused, and then she gets dismissed from her house elf position. Any thoughts in that kind of stream of plots?
I thought Winky's, like, master was, like, kind of being a jerk. But, like, at the same time, I get it. Like, you're top of the wizarding world. You're like the top. And, like, you know, you kind of have to, like, watch who you trust when you're up on top. But, like,
That's
still,
true.
it was a house elf. Like, it was an innocent house elf. And I think he could have taken that differently.
Do you think the kids could have done anything differently with the way they reacted to everything?
No, not really. I mean, they gave all the right things. They were like, no, it wasn't her. Like, it was a man's voice. And they were like, yeah, it couldn't have been her. But he was just being a jerk about it. He was just like, well, I don't care, okay? Because she's going to be in trouble. And I don't care. You're fired. Meh.
You're fired.
Fired. I give you clothes.
No, not clothes.
What did you think of the Dark Mark itself? Like, just the way it was described. Do you remember?
I thought, in my mind, I thought it looked pretty good. Because, like, I saw this, like, huge skull. Not like those, like, dumb, like, baby skulls. They're just, like, a happy skull. But, like, a skull that you get, like, as a tattoo. It's, like, really creepy. And then just a snake just being like, bleh.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Definitely seems like a big bad biker tattoo.
Cool, in my mind.
Yeah, I definitely get the big bad biker tattoo from it.
That's funny.
And then that kind of brings us to Mayhem at the Ministry, where it's kind of all hectic, and Mr. Weasley's working a ton. Ron gets his dress robes. What do you think of that?
I think his dress robes look great.
Yeah, do you want them?
No. I don't wear dresses, but he can totally wear dresses. He'll pull it off.
He might pull it off and burn it for the way
He has
he's
the
reacting.
figure for it.
Yeah.
It's his
Like,
hips.
stylish and pretty.
You could put curl in his hair,
Yeah. Gonna do his makeup. Just get all ready.
fingernails.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
So what did you think about how much Arthur Weasley was working?
I thought props for him for, like, doing that, but at the same time, like, that just sucks. Having to work so much.
It didn't almost sound to me like he really had to, though, right? It's almost
I
like he
know.
feels obligated.
I know, but, like, props for him for, like, getting through it, though. And, like, he was just like, oh my god, I hate this so much. But he was, like, going through it, and, like, props to that dude. But, like, at the same time, he could have been like, oh my gosh, this freaking sucks.
Yeah, he's quite a grown-up about it.
Well, like, in his mind.
Yeah.
I mean, outside, he was like, no, this is, like, alright. Like, I can do this. Like, it's my job.
Mm-hmm.
But on the inside, he was like, oh my... I feel like he was just like, oh my god. I can't do this anymore.
All right. Anything else stand out specifically to you in these chapters? It was a lot of Quidditch stuff. I mean, and the build up to it, the craziness after it. Anything else specifically stand out to you?
I thought it was pretty funny when they were, like, walking up to, like, on the top of the hill.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, Hermione would just, like, be dying.
Her out of shape Hermione again.
I just see Hermione just, like, being, just, like, having a stick and, like, just dragging herself with it. Just, like, ugh. Ugh.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I agree. And then they found that manky old boot.
Mhm. She's like, I feel like Hermione would have just been like, we came all this way for a stinking boot.
I feel like Melissa was that way in our discussions about it.
I just relate to the non-athlete of the group. I feel her pain.
There's gotta be a better way.
Like, can we just summon the boot to us?
Or fly.
Yeah,
We gotta
take
get
brooms
that
there.
good exercise, man.
That's what I said, yeah.
Exercise.
What's wrong with exercise?
It's great for you people.
Thank you. Exercise is great.
Some of us are.
I just got
Less
out of swim practice, so thank you.
That's right. You did. Good job.
Thank you. We did relays today because the water was freaking super hot. It was crazy.
That's not fun.
But all of us were laughing about like how other people, like non-swimmers, would get in the pool and be like, "It's freezing." It was hilarious.
So much like Hermione would have no idea.
Yeah.
See? I can relate. I don't sport. All right. Are you ready for your 5 burning questions?
Sure. Yay. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Question 1. This is from chapter number 6. This is the walk up to the hill.
Yeah.
What random object in your house would you turn into a portkey?
Probably one of my big flowers.
Any particular reason?
I just think they look cool. Grandma gave me one of these awesome, huge, big fake flowers. And I feel like that would be pretty cool. Just like walking up there, just being like, yeah, look at my flower.
And then you touch it and you disappear.
Yeah, just be like, haha, look at this. Douche.
Where would it like transport you to? Where would it take you? Like you have to have it pre-designated to go somewhere. Where would it go?
I don't. It's like, can I like travel over water?
I don't know. What is the distance ratio of portkeys?
I think again, it's the user, the doer, not the user. I don't know. It depends on who's strong enough to make. I don't know. That's a good question.
Right.
Let's say yes, you can go over water.
Okay. I would like want to go to like a third world country. I feel like I would learn a lot from there, like the way that they do stuff.
But then you could just come right back home.
Yeah,
when we're done.
I'd be like, "This is awesome!" I'm like, cool. Okay, bye. Be like, "Don't touch the flower."
Don't touch the flower.
You're like, "Ooh, flower! Don't touch."
So you're telling me if some random person ends up in our house, it's because they took the flower and they need to return it to you.
It's like, "Hey, Lorelei, how are you?" "Oh my God,
that's not Lorelei.
You've changed." And they're just like, "What?"
Sounds a lot like Beauty and the Beast with the "don't touch the flower" thing, right?
Yeah.
It all relates.
Glass thing over it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. All right, question number 2. Which team's campsite would you like to hang out in?
Where are the team camps? I know there's Ireland, but what else?
Bulgaria,
that was it. Yeah.
Why?
I don't want to hang out with Ireland because I'm mostly Irish. And, they won, and I want to party.
Oh, so you would hang out with Ireland?
I would.
It sounded like you said the opposite.
Yeah, I was very confused. So wait, who are you choosing again?
Choosing Ireland because I'm mostly Irish.
Okay.
And, I want to hang out with them and partay. Woohoo, we won.
All right. Question number 3. What new Quidditch rule might there be put in place because of the mascot interference with the referee during the Quidditch match?
Can you repeat that question again?
Okay. The Vila interfered with the referee during the game.
Yes.
Right? They distracted him. So what new Quidditch rule might be put in place because of their interference, specifically interfering with the referee?
Mascots need to stay in their spot and not interfere with the game or the referees. I feel like that'd be a good rule.
I feel like that's implied already. Wouldn't you expect that they...
I don't know. Well, they didn't get in trouble for doing that, so it's probably not.
Huh?
Let's think. So they got 2 retaliatory penalties for the 2 Bulgarian players that flew down. I don't know if there was an initial penalty granted for the Vila interference. I don't remember. I'd have to look, but
I don't think so.
I don't think I think I'm agreeing with you. I know there were the 2 that flew off who came in and argued because he basically forced them back. The referee did. Yeah. And then they came down. 2 of the Bulgarian players flew down to argue, and that was where they got the retaliatory penalties. Mm-hmm. So I think you're right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Ooh, look at that. The I told you face. Nice.
Yeah, I just told you. Who's right now? Mom.
Thank you.
Me. Dum dum.
No, you just said who's right?
Me.
Mom. That's what I heard.
I think we were all basically right.
Okay. Question number 4. Why would Winky conjure the dark mark?
Maybe she was like, you know what? I hate my master because he totally abandoned me up there, and I hate heights, and he knows that. So you know what? Screw him. I'm going to conjure his dark mark, and I don't care because I found this one. Whatever. And then she's like, wait, what's the spell again?
She has it written on her arm or something.
Oh, yeah. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Like, now I'm going to run away. Like, now I'm going to disappear. And then she's just like, darn it, they caught me.
So Winky, the rebel house elf.
Rebel.
Dark marker at large.
Yeah.
That's right.
And she's at Hogwarts.
Question number 5. What color would your dress robes be?
Yellow. I'd want a yellow suit.
Yellow dress robe suit?
No, just a yellow suit.
Like a zoot suit?
Suit.
Okay.
I feel like that would look awesome.
You look like a big banana. A big, lovely banana.
Perfect.
Excellent.
So in this section here, what was your favorite line?
My favorite line is, "What is that in your pockets?" "Nothing," said George. That's my favorite.
Yeah? For why is that?
Because that's like a mom thing to do. Just like, "What is that in your pockets?" And then that's just a kid thing to do, to be like, "Nothing."
Sounds like somebody who knows.
Yeah. I do know. Mom. I am very smart.
Advice.
Thank you, Mom.
Do not take any advice or behavior recommendations from Fred and George Weasley.
Thanks, Mom.
Says
I'm
your
very
mother.
smart.
So who was your section MVP?
Miss Weasley.
Yeah?
Because she was being like a total awesome mom. Because she was like, "I told you this, you didn't listen, so..." But like, I didn't know why they still went to the game.
Oh, you think she should have like grounded them from the game?
Well, like, I was confused, and then I thought about it, and then I was like, nah, they should have gone, because, you know, it was like lots of dollars for them to go.
Would your mom have kept you home?
Someone's dollars, so they should at least go.
Do you think your mom would have let you go, or if you had been the twins, or would your mom have made you stay home? Asks your mom.
Maybe stay home.
You think even for something big like that?
Yep.
Good job, me.
No. You need to be more like Miss Weasley. Be like Miss Weasley.
And
Yes,
on that note, any final thoughts on this section? Thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down?
I really like this section because it gave information about...
Hang on. Let's say that again. There was a lot of noise on the microphone. Sorry.
I'll say it. I give it a thumbs up because it gave a lot of information about the Wizarding World and about bad guys, which we kind of need that, I think. I don't know.
Every good hero needs a good bad guy, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Anything you would have changed in this section?
No. Well, I don't know. No.
Okay. Well, I think that is the point where we're going to kick you out then.
Toodles.
And say thank you, as always, and I can't wait to see you again in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye. And as always, we have our first time reader joining us. Riley, welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me again.
Awesome. Very excited to get your first time perspective on this sporting spectacle. What'd you think overall?
Yeah. It was a great section, I thought. I enjoyed the section overall. It was a good read. The Quidditch match, we'll get to it when we talk about it. Not my favorite thing, but, you know, don't tell Abby.
I'm sorry, you cannot see my face, but I'm making the big O face. Oh. Well, okay, I'm very curious. But should we jump back to chapter 6 really quick and talk about...
let's do that before we unpack any issues with the match itself.
So we're going to start with chapter 6, which is called the Portkey, but it's not really about the Portkey. It's about magical transportation, but let's walk to a Portkey.
Right.
What'd you think about this?
So I understood the concept. I get it, and I like the idea that, oh, sure, the wizards could just easily do this, but, you know, there's this whole organization set up that we're trying to keep the muggles from seeing this big event. I'm sure there's a lot of planning that goes into it, you know. I enjoyed the fact that, yeah, they're wizards. They could have just apparated or whatever, but, you know, they spend some more time together. They get to go on a little adventure, meet some new people, see some more of the land. I'm all for that. One thing that I did not like about them traveling and leaving in the morning is that we are spending more time away from the older brothers. Like, I just want to hang out with Bill and Charlie. Why are they not coming with us? Like, it makes me so angry.
It does seem
I get that because They are very cool.
It seems like a missed opportunity, right? Again, for like
definitely.
more easy interaction with these really, really interesting characters that, hey, we meet them, let's pull them away again. Like, why?
Yeah, I don't
And
know.
send them out and reel them back in. And
Right.
send them out and reel them back in.
It's like she's teasing some kind of big reveal with one of these brothers or something, but I just don't know. I feel like they're cool characters. I feel like our characters think that they're cool characters. So why are we not seeing more of them?
You know they're
I just don't
cool.
understand.
I know they're cool. We all know they're cool. Can't they just be cool?
Why
on the
can't
page?
Percy just stay home by himself?
I can agree with that.
Well, so what the kids don't realize is, these are working young adults. Like, it's a lot of work getting up every single day. They deserve to be able to sleep in.
That's true.
True.
It's a lot different
And
than going to school.
I also think that as older siblings, no matter how much you love your younger siblings, sometimes it's like, the little kids. Because to the big to Bill and Charlie, Ron and Ginny and them are still little kids. So, we were just with them last night. I just need a break. I need
That
some
was
time.
enough.
I'm good.
And like, why wouldn't they just apparate there? They're not in Hogwarts anymore. They totally can, and I get that. Missed
All right,
opportunity.
I can feel your pain. I think that's a good call. How about once we get to not the Quidditch match yet, but the Quidditch campgrounds?
The campgrounds, yeah. So first thought I have is, why is there a muggle, in like at the entrance? Like, this is obviously his campgrounds. I don't know. Maybe there could have been some other place that they could have done it, but sure, I guess this guy doesn't really care who he's, selling his grounds to. He's just making some money. That makes sense. That's Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
But I think it's really cool that once they're walking around in the campgrounds, that there are a ton of wizards from other countries, and Harry's kind of experiencing that for the first time. I never really thought about that too much going into this, so I like that I kind of was experiencing that with him. So that was like my first initial thought, was that there's a lot of people from other countries and stuff, before we like start getting into meeting, different people, titles and things like that.
So what countries' wizards do you think would be the most interesting to meet? Either ones from the book or ones that you can just think of off the top of your head.
I definitely think that the Ireland guys would be cool to meet, not just because they're in the World Cup final, but I'm also Irish, and I think that would be interesting just to see like what kind of, because I have this view of wizards that they have these like simple lives that are able to be led simply because of their magic, and I view the Irish lifestyle as kind of like a general simple lifestyle, so I feel like they'd be the best at it. Like, it would be like a bunch of Weasleys in a country together. So I don't know, that was my thought. But I think there would be a ton of cool. I would really like to meet American wizards, but I didn't hear a lot of talk about them either.
There was just the Salem Witches Institute, I think, that was referenced.
Yes.
That was the only one.
So I know whenever I read like this section, Riley, and like thinking like if me and you were going here, because we would
and
be
it would
there.
totally be you two.
I mean, we would. There's no doubt you and I would be here for the 2 weeks ahead of time. Like that's not the question here.
I'd be rolling in at the last.
No doubt.
Like the feeling that I get when I read this is, I don't know if it's kind of like a Renaissance feel.
That's
like
exactly what I was
feel.
gonna say, like a Ren Fair feeling.
Right, it's like the festival, the festivalia of it, the Renaissance feel because of the wizarding community. Like you were kind of saying, it's a little bit simpler, and even like it seems like technology wise, they haven't needed to advance, so they are kind of back, technologically. And so I'm glad that you kind of jumped right on that, but I don't know. It just seems like it'd be awesome to go hang out there.
I got another like World's Fair feel out of it too, because like there's like a lot of countries and different cultures. Like, what kind of different spells do they use all the time? Like, what are their daily routines like?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was interesting to just like think about all of these. I mean, I like the idea of a lot of different cultures in real life coming together in general, but just throwing the concept of the way that wizards live. it's just cool to imagine what that actually, like, that festival would actually look like to me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I get it's like a combination, a Renaissance fair with like Olympic Village.
Yeah, definitely.
Ooh, that's an interesting. I mean, that's very St. Louis 1904 World's Fair and the 1904 Olympics at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And we only know that because we live here, but that's just
Right.
that's cool. All right. Any other interesting thoughts about the congregation there, or the apparel or people that you meet when you're walking down the street?
The only big thought that I had, other than like small thoughts about, you know, like Bagman betting with kids is weird, but I don't want to spend a lot of time with that. Like the big thing that I thought about was that adult wizard. The note that I have written down is adult wizard talk is rubbish. Like the things that they are actually talking about, the adults, like the ministry people, Mr. Weasley's talking to all these people. Like anytime they have a conversation together, it just doesn't seem like it, one, matters, or two, makes sense at all. And like it's just like ridiculous, the conversations that they have. I just think it's so funny.
That is really funny because like we've been really big fans in our reread here of how well J.K. Rowling has, you know, had the the young characters interact with each other. The conversations they fit really well. The teacher adult relationships with the kids are very full and real. Like the adults are fleshed out, but yeah, in this, there's a couple scenes where it's like these adults really, when they talk to each other, aren't as believable. Definitely.
It was just, I don't know if it was the fact that Mr. Weasley's just an odd guy, because that's kind of the perspective that we take on for this section a little bit, because we're seeing Mr. Weasley's interaction through Harry's eyes, it kind of seems like. But it just, they were very odd things, the things that they were complaining about. And like, I don't know, it was just weird to me. I feel like the conversations were just very frivolous.
Do you think they were frivolous because, like, they were poorly written? Or do you think they were frivolous because these are men running into each other in a social setting who don't usually converse, like, at work?
I don't think it's bad writing. I don't think it's bad writing at all. I agree with you in a sense. Like, if I'm meeting my work friends at, like, a football tailgate, like, I'm not going to be talking about things that really make sense in terms of logistics or work or whatever. But if that stuff kind of comes up, there's going to be weird jokes in it, maybe inside jokes, things that, like, wouldn't normally come up.
The only reason I said it's because I think about how I, in my socially awkward and not so good at peopling kind of way, I do great talking to the people at work when I'm at work.
Right.
Because it's work and that's what you do when you talk about work. But then, like, if I'm out of work and doing something else with my friends or my family and I run into somebody from work, and that's what this feels like more. Like, we're not coming together to hang out. It's I'm here and you're here. And now because I know you, I have to socially interact with you. And I don't know how to do that in a non-work environment. That's a little bit how it feels like to me if I was to run into somebody that I don't hang out with in a hangout setting.
I definitely see that. I did, like, the writing wasn't something that made me feel like angry or anything. I just thought it was like kind of funny that it didn't really seem like the most fleshed out conversations. But I agree with you in the sense that, like, they're definitely not coming here to hang out. They might just be having conversation because they are supposed to.
Yeah, like, you can't ignore the person because that's rude, but you don't really want to talk to them. So what do you talk about? And so, yeah, probably in your brain, it's not a very well fleshed out conversation because you're like, I don't know what else to say to you. Hi.
So I have a couple thoughts, a bit disagreeing with you, and maybe a potential other theory.
Okay.
So, but my main disagreement with the socially awkward because you're out of work thing doesn't hold up for me with Arthur Weasley with Bagman, because he specifically invited him, gave him the tickets. So that one, that doesn't quite hold up. They're just a little, I'll get back to that. The Barty Crouch, he's just an awkward guy. I think he's the issue in the other adult conversation. So it's just like, because those are the two main adults talking to adults conversations we have, right? It's those three kind of interacting. My real thought for Arthur Weasley with Ludo Bagman is to put old our dad on the spot again. I think we can all relate to this. Arthur is in front of how many of his children talking to a friend from work?
All.
Or so, I mean, think about it whenever we go to where Dad grew up. Uncle Ronnie is a little bit different than our dad. And we don't get to see that necessarily. And you can tell he's kind of in that in-between zone, which I think Arthur might be in himself, if that makes sense.
I could see that as well. That does make a lot of sense.
Again, it's hard for us not to put the lens of our dad in Arthur Weasley's shoes, but
because
it just fits so
awesome,
well.
As is does our. Okay, so I totally think you're right about the Arthur Weasley being the, okay, I still got to be the dad, but this is the guy that I like go for a beer with after work or whatever it is.
And so his jokes would normally have like another layer to him, but he has to like awkward them up just to like, it just doesn't quite work because he has that filter.
And we don't see that at all because, like I said earlier, we're kind of watching this interaction through Harry's eyes. His one, not even his kid, and two, not even a part of the wizarding world. So, like, we don't even see the intricacies of, like, maybe he is acting a little weird. This is just how it is. So I totally understand why that comes off as so awkward, but not, like, blatantly awkward to me.
Yes. My other, like, sort of counterpoint to Luke's thought is, I agree with you. Arthur and Ludo probably are not awkward, but seeing as how I have already thought that I'm a lot like Bagman and would fit well in his office, this is where I'm coming from with the awkward conversation thing because I'm typically that person.
Okay.
That's all. I totally agree that it's Bagman who's awkward. I relate. We're ready to move on to your Quidditch World Cup.
Yeah, I guess so. Let's talk about it.
Man, you don't sound excited at all. I'm a little nervous.
Nope.
Why not?
Well, okay, firsthand, I was right when I wrote the first note that I wrote about the Quidditch World Cup, and it was no security at the World Cup ? So I wrote, if this had been written today, wands would have 100% been confiscated. Everybody's wand in the stands because we've had it's a lot different political atmosphere and there's a lot more crazy things that happen at events today. But also, like, think about it. Everybody goes to a World Cup and they're allowed to bring like a gun. Like, not gonna happen. Like, and it's not just like only the people who like guns bring. Like, everybody has one. Like, no, all right, that's not gonna happen.
Like everybody's standard issue when you're 11 gun that they're walking around with.
Like, no, all right. Why do people have wands at the World Cup? Should not be allowed. Like, we already saw in, was it the second book, that Harry can get screwed up with on his broom just because somebody was enchanting it in this
book
stand.
1, yes.
Book 1, yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, not gonna happen. All right, because it stops at 2. So I was ready for that to happen. But lo and behold, it wasn't actually any of the spectators who ruined the match. It was actually the entire, the teams, the organizations. Since when, in what sporting event ever, have mascots been allowed to directly affect the outcome of the match? Like, you don't see Louis the Blue, like, throwing rocks at the people who play the St. Louis Blues on the ice. Like,
there's no Dallas Cowboy cheerleader like blocking the end zone.
No, like, I just don't understand the mascot thing at all. I'm not a hater on Quidditch. The rules are a little wild, but I get it. It's a cool sport, cool concept. The mascot thing, I cannot get behind at all. It really made me angry.
You don't think they should be, have a direct influence on the game? What else are they going to do there?
Maybe just inspire the fans and the team, like every other mascot.
With magic, which means let's give them extra powers as they play. Sound good?
The Vila absolutely inspired tens of thousands of people, including the ref at one point.
I mean, I'm all for the leprechauns giving the fans money, but like the Vila bewitching the people that were flying on their brooms and the ref
allegedly bewitching.
Whatever. I think it's ridiculous. I don't know. I was not a fan of that. And then all right, so we get past the mascot thing. That's ridiculous. But let's talk about the actual match. What player in any sporting event ever is going to knowingly end the game just because he's hurt, because he wants to end it on his own accord? Like, what? no, that's not gonna happen. Like, why would Crumb catch the snitch if he
To lose purposefully.
Yeah, my only thought that like actually could defend him is that his nose was broken and he couldn't see the score, so he was just gunning for the snitch. Like, other than that, I don't know. Dumb ending to one of the biggest games, the biggest sporting event in the Wizarding world. I think it was poorly written. That's my thoughts.
I don't think you're going to get much disagreement here.
Disagree with you. All in favor of Riley.
I do mostly agree with you, Riley. I think the excitement level was well done on how it was written, and
I liked the chasers on the Ireland team.
Like the speed of it was well done, and like what Harry got from it was well done, and like
definitely.
Like there's a lot of things that were really done well, but yeah, at the end, I mean, you're choosing to lose by 10. Like if it was, we're down by 60 and it's like that gap is just growing.
Yeah.
Like at that point, fine. But you just like the other chaser, the other seeker is on the ground. He's probably not coming back. Like
you have time, my friend.
Yeah,
you have some time.
I'm with you though.
I like the way it was written though. I do agree. I don't hate the match entirely. I do agree with like the speed and the excitement, and it felt like you were at a cool sporting event, and the feel of it was right.
I like that. It felt it definitely. You could tell the difference between a school event and this isn't even like a professional event. This is like Olympic level
World Cup.
Yeah. Elite.
No, definitely
the best of the best.
I think that aspect was done well, and I won't like take away from that at all. It was a good read, like I enjoyed it, but I just think the details were wrong. But that's okay. Also, what are they called? The omnoculars.
Omnioculars.
Yeah, dumb. Like the fact. Okay, I get it. Like the magic part of it, where you can like watch it at a slower pace. Honestly, that's cool. I'm a big fan of that. The part that I didn't like, or maybe I didn't understand, was like it was like presenting the names of the moves that were happening as they were happening to him. I don't know, ridiculous. Like you don't watch a replay of a soccer game and it's like, oh, Cristiano Ronaldo just did a Ronaldo chop, like as it's playing that in slow motion. Like that doesn't happen. Like what? I don't know. Wasn't a fan of that.
Riley,
a Maradona.
I have to tell you, I have never on this show felt more like you were my brother than I do right now, because these are the same problem, not worded the same, but it's the same general idea of like WTF that you had. I appreciate you bringing that up.
I like the omnioculars a lot. I
would have liked them if it stopped at the slow-mo and then Hermione was like, you're not going to see what happens in real time if you're watching it in slow-mo. And then like he used them occasionally. Would have been fine with that. But the visual commentary of the moves was a little extra for me.
I have a quick question on like, hey, what if they would have tied? What do you think would have happened if it was like, oh, it was 160 to 10 and he caught the snitch and it was a tie?
I don't know. I feel like there's got to be an overtime. Maybe it's a next score wins, the snitch is gone, and it's just the next chaser to go through, or
like penalty kicks. Like everybody takes a shot. Each chaser gets one shot on goal, and then whoever comes out with the most wins.
Whoa! Yeah. You mean the seeker isn't the only one that matters anymore in that style?
I think so.
I know. I hate to make it about not the seeker.
I know, right? Basically, that final thought there kind of made me get back to what Melissa and I kind of first discussed when we first talked about Quidditch games. The snitch point prize should end in a 5. It should be 75 points, 105 points. It should end on
150,
not a 10, so that you wouldn't have a tie ever.
That makes sense.
I think that solves a lot of those questions.
I think the fact that you have to catch the snitch to end the game is a little weird, but I don't know.
All right, I'm going to move us on to a little bit of a lighter note, and it's called the Dark Mark.
Oh, yeah.
Lovely. So, any thoughts about this? Random nighttime wandering, fireworks display, whatever it is.
The first thing that I thought was that this is definitely not like a random occurrence. Like this definitely wasn't like buddies getting together and like reliving the old times as they kind of talked about later in the chapters. I definitely my first initial thoughts, and having finished the section, my thoughts are that this was definitely an organized event, definitely an organized plan.
So which part to do that out in the campsite with lifting the Roberts family?
Yes, lifting the Roberts family, like making a statement as the hooded wizards, who we later find out were the Death Eaters. I think that was definitely an organized thing. I don't think
they planned that, like, hey, it's going to be really fun.
Or like, we're ready. I think it's like not a fun thing. I think we're here to make a statement for some reason, unbeknownst to us so far.
Okay.
Protest.
Yeah. And then the Sign of Voldemort thing comes out and they leave, which was surprising to me.
Why?
Because I thought initially that was going to be like the whole plan. Like
a rally cry almost
to their actions.
Yeah, I thought that was like why they were doing it, was to like come out in support of Voldemort. But so that threw me off a little bit. I'm not quite sure how I feel or what I think is going on yet, but I don't think it was like a random occurrence.
Okay. Are we ready to move on to Mayhem at the Ministry?
And the Malfoys are for sure involved. That's also a note that I have.
Why do you think that?
Because Draco wouldn't be sitting around unwatched and unmonitored and like confident and cocky if he didn't know what was happening, or like at least that his parents were not in a threat and that he was also not threatened. So I think they're for sure involved.
Do you have any thoughts on Winky and how Mr. Crouch is treating her and how basically everyone was treating Winky?
Right. I mean, so this might be an unpopular opinion. I think it's safe. Like, it's a safe thing to say that, like, I don't appreciate the way that she was being treated. And I'm very much like with Hermione and how she was like sticking up for her. But then again, I am not a part of the wizarding culture. I don't know how house elves are really supposed to be dealt with or how they're really supposed to act. Our only experience so far, other than Winky, is Dobby, who seems to be kind of an outlier as we hear Winky talking about him, like in the way that he acts now that he's been free. And so while I don't condone like slavery or mistreatment or anything like that, I don't know what the norm in this story or this society is. So I don't know if Hermione's like right to be like standing up so much for Winky, or like what side's really wrong or anything, you know. Obviously, the right way to feel is that it's incorrect and wrong, but I'm just not quite sure.
Right. I know exactly kind of what you're getting at, and like it feels like the way Winky is being treated is nowhere near out of the norm for how house elves are standardly treated. Like, and like basically in reverse. Like that's like exactly expected and perfectly on par, like with the wizarding community definition of acceptable. Again, completely with you. It's absolutely not right in our mentality, and Hermione's all over that. But I agree with you that in their society, that is like by the book.
What I do appreciate about this situation, though, is that, you know, it has to deal with Hermione when she says to Ron, like, it's people like you and your laziness that prop up the injustice that happens. And I think that, like, that's kind of the line or the important idea that we were supposed to get out of this section, and, like, why this whole Winky thing is happening in the first place. And I like that Hermione is the one that says that, and I like that idea is being brought up, because, I mean, even today, like, that's a huge thing still. And even back when this was written, it was a huge thing. So I definitely think that this whole situation was kind of set up for that idea to start being laid out. I don't know if that's going to become a more prominent thing in the story. Hopefully it does, because that's a great concept. But I liked that line where she was like, you know, hammering on Ron about him just like standing by while all of this, you know, injustice was happening. And even though it's not just Ron, like, it's his entire family and the culture, but like,
that still doesn't make it right.
Right. Yeah. Definitely not.
All right. So then we have Mayhem at the Ministry, which basically is the fallout of the weeks after that. Any thoughts about how much Arthur has to work, basically?
He's in a political position. You know, he works for the Ministry of Magic, the face of, you know, London's wizardry and whatnot. When you have a political crisis, things have to happen, whether it's in not even a political crisis, whether you work for a company, if there's a crisis situation that happens at all, you're going to expect to spend a lot of hours fixing that thing that went wrong. So it stinks that he has to spend time away from his family while they're on vacation and stuff, but that's just kind of a adult thing that happens sometimes when you work for an organization like that. That's how I feel.
Are you ready to get into some burning questions?
Yeah.
All right. Ready over there, Luke?
I am ready.
All right, here we go. Chapter 6, burning question number 1. What random object in your house would you turn into a portkey?
What random? I would choose like an old golf club, one that I wouldn't usually use. I have a lot of old golf clubs in my house, so definitely that. And I don't know, I'm a caddy, so I have an affinity for those kind of things.
So you could carry it everywhere you go without actually having to touch it? So you always have emergency magical transport with you?
No, I didn't think that's what you were talking about.
I mean, you could.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if I would use a portkey as my house is burning down, I can't get out, or
oh, that's a good
somebody's coming into my house, I need to escape. I need to run away from somebody. Let me go grab the club, and not to hit them with.
People grab a club to hit, not Riley.
Now, where would you set the destination up? I mean, if it's going to be a golf club, you got to have it either take you to 1, a golf course, or 2, the actual club. Because you're like, oh, I got to get out of here. I'm going to the club. You go to the club, and then you're gone.
I don't know. That wasn't great.
That wasn't very good. No,
I'd send it to my grandma's house.
There you go.
All right. Question number 2. This is from chapter 7. And I believe you've already answered it, but I'm going to ask it anyway, just for further clarification. Which Quidditch team's campsite would you like to hang out in the most?
Ireland, definitely. Or are you asking out of the match or just in general?
If you had to pick one of the 2 teams to hang out with, their fans, who would it be?
Definitely Ireland. I'm definitely an Ireland guy. Irish boy.
All right, chapter 8. What new Quidditch rule might be put in place because of the mascot interference with the referee?
You can't have mascots on the field. Simple. They can be in the stadium with the stands, in the press box, cannot be on or around the field.
The field is in the sky, though. I mean, they're not really ever on the grass.
Okay, but let me talk about, why are they talking about the pitch and how it looks so nice in the, no, the field is obviously a part of it. Magic isn't it's not a touch and magic happens things. Obviously, you can use some magic at distance, so you got to be far enough away to where you're not going to be able to affect anything. And just don't have mascots that can use magic.
Okay, emphatic.
Yeah, dumb rule.
Question 4. All right, question number 4. Why would Winky conjure the dark mark?
I thought about this for a while, and the only thing that I can really think of is that, so all right, it needs a little backstory. So Winky, obviously, from what we know about her, she is super loyal and will do whatever it takes to not please her master but meet his demands. So the only thing that I can think of is that she was instructed to by whoever owns her. Now that being said, that was addressed that Barty Crouches detests the dark magic and all of that sort of thing. So I'm not really sure. I don't really believe that answer, but I think that's the most logical thing from what we know about Winky as a character, because she was willing to overcome her greatest fears to meet the demands of her master. So she'll do whatever she's instructed to by whoever owns her. So I think that's what, maybe not most likely, but I think that's what could have happened.
Okay. Last question. We didn't really touch on this part, but at the end of chapter 10, Harry and Ron discover their newly purchased, although not necessarily new, but newly purchased dress robes. What dress robes be?
Green.
Why?
Because I'm a Slytherin, and green's a great color, and I'm Irish, or actually, I have blue eyes. I've always been told when I wear blue, it brings out my eyes. So I'm really trying to look nice. I might wear some blue robes, but it'll be between the two. Maybe some like aquamarine robes. The best of both worlds.
Okay. Now we get into what was your favorite line?
So my favorite line was actually in that last section, and it was it's on page 153. It's when Fred is talking to his mom after she says, "You wouldn't be thinking of restarting Weasley's Wizard Weezers by any chance, would you?" And this is after I had a note about this earlier. I really liked that Mrs. Weasley, the first thing that she did was hug Fred and George because she was scolding them the last time they talked. Like, I thought that was really good motherly instinct. But to like add on to that, Fred plays into it with his line saying, "Now, Mum, if the Hogwarts Express crashed tomorrow and George and I died, how would you feel to know that the last thing we ever heard from you was an unfounded accusation?" Like, I just thought that was really funny. It's such a, like, it's something I would say to my mom. Like, we have that kind of relationship where, and it says that Mrs. Weasley, like, everybody laughs, even her. It's just one of those insults that's like, you're all smart enough to know that it means nothing. Like, there's no ill will behind it, but it's just a good, quick, like, quip at your mom. I don't know.
I will let you know. That's exactly the line I picked for that section.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Word for word.
That's a great one. It
is.
Yeah, definitely.
Very good choice. I approve. This episode gets my stamp of approval for writing. Good
you
job.
guys, did you use Melissa's notes for this?
Nope, not at all. I think I'm just turning into her.
You're welcome. I'm a great person to be.
Yeah.
Okay, last thing. Who was your chapter MVP?
My chapter MVP. This was tough.
Section, I should say. I'm sorry. Section
MVP. I'm sorry. This was tough. There wasn't a lot of major plot points other than experiences that are happening. But when there is a lot of there is a lot that happens. But when those stressful things are happening, I think the character, at first I thought it was going to be Fred, because he was the one that was kind of leading them into the woods and like taking that charge. But he kind of got lost, so it's definitely not Fred. But I think it's Hermione. I think it has to be Hermione. She's the kind of one who stands her ground against the adults the most. And she's the one who gives Harry and Ron the most advice during that like time in the wood. She just does a lot of awesome things this section. I don't know. I think it's definitely Hermione.
I think that's a strong choice.
I think that's a strong choice, and I feel like I have a song that would back that up. I'm going to stand my ground, and I won't back down. That's now playing in my head, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good choice. The adversity that she kind of sets herself up for and isn't afraid to do it, pretty big character moment for her, especially with like the discussion they have on when she's like clearly disagreeing with Percy too, right? And even the narrator was like, which was weird because they almost always got along pretty well.
Yeah.
But even the narrator's like, what is going on?
All right, Riley, I think that wraps us up. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me. This was a good section, and I'm excited to keep reading. It was one of those sections that left me wishing I wasn't doing this, every couple weeks. All right. So I'm ready to get started.
Pop quiz speculation.
Speculation?
Yeah, ready? I have an idea that I want you to put a guess on. All right?
Okay.
So it's a yes or no. Will we ever see the Roberts family again?
Because you're asking me, I want to say yes.
But are you going to say yes?
No, I don't think so. I'm probably going to be wrong just because that question is asked. But no, I don't see a reason at this point. But I'm probably wrong. I'm going to say no. I'll stick to it.
Okay.
I have a follow-up.
Sure.
Not about this, but just in general. So usually, Riley, you tend to be the, hey, I don't want to do all of this other stuff. I just want to get to Hogwarts guy. And here we are at chapter 10, and we're not at Hogwarts yet.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about this?
So I was thinking that too as I was reading this, but generally my problem with not getting to Hogwarts is that there's no story that happens beforehand in the previous books. Like, there's not really much that happens in terms of the wizarding world. Like, pre-Hogwarts is just Harry dealing with Muggle world problems, and I'm tired of that. But this isn't that. We are seeing the Wizarding World, and we're seeing Harry experience a bunch of new things, and not just a chapter in Diagon Alley. You know, like, this is an extended stay in the Wizarding World outside of Hogwarts. I actually like it even more than being at school. So I thought about that, and I'm glad you asked me, because I was like, wow, were you just getting there at chapter 11, maybe? Who knows? But yeah, I don't know. I think it's cool. I like to experience this Wizarding World. So
I am very excited about that, because when we started this book, you were like, I just want to get to Hogwarts. I just want to get to Hogwarts. And I was like, you just wait, buddy. It's going to be a while. So right. I'm glad that it was not fast, but you still enjoyed it.
Yeah, it didn't feel like I was like slowly going through these sections at all. Like, there was definitely stuff happening. So I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I mean, we're 1/4 of the way through the book.
Right.
At least 1/4 of the way through the chapters at this point. So
yeah. Better be a pretty uneventful year at Hogwarts then, I guess.
Isn't it always?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really funny. Melissa and I were like behind the scenes, like twiddling our fingers, like, ooh, we'll see if he's excited about how long it takes us to get to Hogwarts in this one.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it's going well for you.
I didn't even think about that until I got like to the end of this section, because I wasn't like
missing it.
Yeah, I wasn't missing it at all.
Good.
All right.
Good.
I think that wraps us up. We will see you in a few weeks. So go ahead and get your reading.
All right, I will, definitely.
All right. See you soon.
Yep. Thanks. Thanks for having me on,
Thanks,
guys.
Riley.
See you later.
Mm-hmm. Bye, Riley.
Bye.
So that'll wrap up our 5-chap recap episode. Be sure to check out patreon.com/stayimaginary to get access to the unrestricted section without delay. Check us on socials, be that on Twitter @NotNamedPodcast, or send us an email to notnamedpodcast@gmail.com. Check out this and all of our shows at thepodcastthat.com. And for other ways that you can help support our show, check out thepodcastthat.com/support us. We will see you next week for Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, Chapter 11. Thanks. Stay imaginary.